This is what we came for. No Diddy.
No Diddy.
Saul Canelo Alvarez, VMC, the face of boxing, undisputed. I'm gonna go ahead and say it, Chris. Even though the IBF stripped him of his belt, he's still the undisputed champion at 168, just like Usyk is the undisputed champion at heavyweight. We all know it, Chris. I don't care what these people try to tell us. Take their belts all you want, but you see the article here that I'm pulling up. IBF stripped Canelo because he refused to fight number one contender William Skull, whoever the hell that is, Chris. Who's the IBF to tell Canelo he has to fight this guy named Skull? Unbelievable. 22-0, 9 KO Skull. 32 years old out of Germany. I mean, come on, man. But let's I'll talk about it later, but Berlanga said he wants the IBF now to get that Canelo rematch. He's trying to play it smart, get another payday. But let's get into just the fight itself, Chris. I mean, Berlanga, who sold the fight, he did a very good job. We'll talk some numbers, Chris. There's a lot of rumors out there. But, we gave him props last week for selling the fight. I believe he earned his paycheck, Chris. He earned that payday. Payday. You know that. You know, I believe he earned it. And he got knocked down early in the fight. I believe it was the third. And did well enough to survive. We can talk about whether Canelo kind of let him off the hook or not, but they showed each other respect at the end. I thought it was a pretty good fight. I didn't expect Berlanga to survive, to fight back like he did. He
Yeah.
did take a beating. He did take a beating, but he was able to survive. And yeah, I think it was a good overall event, I'm gonna say. And like I said, we'll get into the numbers and all that, but let's get your initial reaction to this fight.
Yeah, no, first of all, there was a celebration of Mexican heritage, a celebration of Canelo. Again, we always say that you never know when a fighter in their prime, especially in their 30s, where they're gonna, get old overnight. But again, this is a reminder that Canelo is still at the top. Again, there's no slippage there, at least not to the naked eye. So a lot of people are still excited to see just how good Canelo is, how accurate, how strong. Again, this is a smaller guy taking it to the bigger guy at 190 plus. So the fact that Canelo was, able to do what he always does and do it to the bigger Berlanga. Again, props to Berlanga for selling this. But I mean that fight, even though there was, it was pretty dominant on Canelo's side, it was very entertaining. Berlanga, truly took everything Canelo had, and you and I predicted a knockout, right, Gio? We predicted that the skills were just going to be too much, that the defense on Berlanga's side was going to see something similar to Kirkland, and it was not to be so. Props to Berlanga for being gutsy, for being a warrior, for being tough, and moments in that fight where you thought that the corner might stop it to protect them the way you know, the way Mungia was protected a little bit. You would think with that youth they were going to stop the fight, and now Berlanga went the distance, and props to him. But there is still only one king in that Canelo.
117, 110, 118, 109, two times. Not sure what rounds they scored for Berlanga. I don't think he won any round in this fight. I don't think he won any moment in this fight. Caleb Plant said it too. He said, "Hey, I'm not hating, but this guy didn't win a round." You know, but yeah, man, you got to commend him. He got knocked down early. A lot of people thought Canelo was going to finish him. He survived. He took some hard shots. Those body punches were brutal. Those gotta hurt, man. And it's so easy to take the Danny Garcia route. You know, hey, this guy's better than me. I'm gonna lose anyway. Let me just take a knee, go home safely. I got my paycheck secure either way. But I think Berlanga, by surviving, by going the distance with Canelo, earned the respect of a lot of people. And he tried to fight back, Chris. He just wasn't good enough, but he tried. And yeah, I don't know if I have much about the fight itself, other than, man, that was a brutal left hook that he took by Canelo. Pounded on his chest, got right back up, and continued fighting.
Yeah, again, that hook was right on the money, and you saw Berlanga just smile and pat those gloves, and he knew he made a small mistake and he paid for it. Again, I just got to commend Berlanga because just the way he moves, the way he talks, the way he carries himself. He's a street guy. And sometimes these street guys they don't have that foundation that the guy across from you that's been born and bred in the sport like Canelo has. You don't last long. So again, you saw the limited skill set in Berlanga, but there was no limit to his heart, to his toughness. And again, maybe he'll learn from this and he's able to go back to the lab and work on some things. But yeah, that the heart just can't be denied.
Yeah, and a lot of people giving Munguia credit for his heart too against Canelo. Let's see, Pachuco says a lot of people don't appreciate how tough of a fight Munguia was for Canelo. It was a tough, action-packed, toe-to-toe battle. You know, he also says Berlanga weighed close to 200 pounds on fight night.
Yeah.
I guess he's deserving of a participation trophy for going the distance, he says. Clyde says Berlanga coming in as a heavyweight was the only reason why he survived the fight. What do you think about that? Iceman says Berlanga looked 205.
Yeah, no, he was a big boy up there. Again, I agree. I think if Berlanga would have not ballooned up that high, he would not have taken the punches as well as he did. Still, he was getting tagged all night. Absorbing those punches. Getting taken to school by a smaller, all-time great fighter, in my opinion. Um, but again, it's still very frustrating when you're landing one punch to Canelo's five. That can totally demoralize you. Like you said, there's moments that he could have, said, "Hey, this is enough. I'm good." But again, that's that pride that he has in that. He wanted to see the distance against an all-time great. So again, I think there's a lot of variables, Gio, but I think one of those was like I want to rematch one day. He probably realized early on that he's like, oh man, I'm not at the level, but I want to at least give a good account of myself so I can one day, rematch this champion. So again, not on the same level as Canelo. We saw the skill set is there's levels to it, and but again, you got to commend him for his spirit.
Yeah, and look, Chris, Munguia is 27 years old. I think at that point you're supposed to be in your prime physically, mentally. You're supposed to be at your best. 22-1 now, 17 KOs, but this doesn't look right, man. You see his resume right there. He fought Patrick McCrory in February of 2024, and then he fought Canelo right after that.
Yeah.
I think that's what's wrong with boxing nowadays, man. These guys protect that O. They're waiting for that payday, and next thing you know, you go from McCrory to Alvarez, and he wasn't ready. As I said, I think he became a better boxer. We'll see what's next for him, but before that, if you take a look at his resume, Romer Alexis Angulo was a tough fight, but I mean, other than that, he doesn't have much there. So,
Yeah.
but look, the fact of the matter is, he's gonna get a big fight. Let me show you guys the poll of who people think he should fight next. Uh, and here it is, 540 votes. Who would you want to see Berlanga fight next? 4% Diego Pacheco,
Mhm.
5% Macumbi, 42% Munguia, 49% Caleb Plant. That's the one I voted for. I just think that the fight already kind of sold itself. As I said, they use Canelo's platform, they use Canelo's PPV to promote themselves during the press conference, and then in the show itself. I think Berlanga showed a lot of heart, a lot of what, and then Plant did the same, and Plant got the stoppage. So I think it makes sense to me.
Yeah, style wise, that fight is salivating. Again, you mentioned Killer Plant has great boxing skills, but not the power. Not the greatest power. And that Berlanga is the opposite. He's got the power, just doesn't have the best skill set. So I think that's a good mix. They kind of even out. I would say maybe 52-47. Around it's that close. So both guys, but it depends on who's pans out that night. But yeah, that would make for a great build up. Both these guys will talk their smack. Both of them, would try to win because you can say the winner of that deserves maybe a rematch at Canelo. So yeah, that's a fight that would make a lot of sense. A lot of fans would tune out for that fight. They're now well known by the boxing fans, the boxing public. So that's a fight that definitely makes sense, and they both speak English, so there'll be no shortage of sound bites.
Yeah, I just can't imagine the Caleb Plant and Jaime Munguia trash talk.
Yeah.
Munguia's just be like, huh? ¿Qué dijo?
¿Qué me
So
dijo ese bueno?
and
¿Qué me dijo el micro? But
the translators are not gonna tell him exactly what he said. They're gonna make something up. So yeah, I don't see that trash talk working out.
dijo algo de tu mamá o algo. But no, that probably makes sense, Gio. And the powers that be, if those promoters are smart, that they would try to capitalize, like you said, on just the recency of this Canelo fight, where those three names are just in the back of people's heads. So yeah, that probably makes sense, man. And if it's a good undercard, I might consider paying pay-per-view for that.
Big Bro says he might not call him Bernalgas anymore. He said he earned me calling him Berlanga from now on.
But nah, I guess.
Hey,
Man.
hey, you know what? I like the fact that, he thanked Canelo for the opportunity. He said, "You're my idol." He said, there was a clip, and then Berlanga talked about it also in the post fight press conference. He said he told Canelo, it's unfortunate that, this is how we kind of met, me talking trash. He said, you've always been my idol. Sorry for all the trash talk. And he said that Canelo pretty much interrupted him and said, hey, it doesn't matter. I know why you did it. You were selling the fight, but keep working, keep training, and you're gonna be world champ. So yeah, a lot of respect between the two. I'm sure they'll work together at some point. As I said, Canelo and Plant seem like they're pretty cool with each other.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. I think Canelo sometimes is too nice, man. It's kind of like, remember that phase that Pacquiao went through when he stopped knocking people out and he was thanking God every 5 seconds. I just think Canelo right now, he's looking out for the next generation. You've been seeing Teofimo working with him, him literally carrying Mungia. He said during an interview, Chris, that they asked him, hey, did you hold him up in the 12th round? He said, man, I held him up all fight. That's what he said. And now with Bernalgas too, giving him advice and all that stuff. So he's looking out for these guys, but maybe David Benavidez can bring out the mean Canelo. The mean Canelo came out in the first half of the fight, and then after that, it seemed like he just kind of got bored of beating on Berlanga, and didn't get the KO. I think it was just difficult. I think he figured, man, this 200 pounder is not going down. Let me not injure my hands. Let me just, win these rounds, give him some good advice, and then go home.
Canelo's been carrying these boys since cotton. Yeah, yeah, a little too much glaze for my liking. You know what? If I were to lose a fight, I give the guy props. Maybe a little bit like, hey man, you're a great fighter, blah blah. But tampoco, man. Este compa se pasó, le trajo flores, roll out the red carpet. Man, my boy got humbled. But let's go to that punch, Gio. That punch that I think Canelo must have heard the bell or whatever, and Berlanga landed a clean punch. What did you think of that moment?
Made things interesting for that second and a half, but yeah, I didn't make too much of it, honestly.
To me, I was like, oh dang, like it's the first clean punch that Canelo takes. Obviously, he heard the bell. He thought the round was over. In my opinion, gets punched clean. Uh, Again, that just shows what a granite chin Canelo has. He's got one of the best chins in all of the history of the sport. Right there alongside Triple G, like just some of the best chins in all of boxing. So I mean, the fact that he took that punch, clean punch, from a 190 plus pound fighter, I'm like, man, if that didn't put him down, nothing will.